Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today we're going to talk about putting on the drawer pulls. Anybody who's been following my series here has known that I'm replacing the kitchen. I'm putting up a video step by step how to do it. Today we're waiting for the granite to come in, so we're actually on hold right now, waiting for the granite, waiting for some cabinets that were damaged when they arrived to us. So we're going to put the hardware on today. But how do you know where to mount the hardware? There's lots of different places you can mount them. You can mount them on the top of the drawer if you choose. You can mount it in the middle of the drawer. There's all different kinds of drawer pulls. And I will tell you this, there is different bolt patterns on most of the drawer pulls as well. So before you go drilling anything in here, make sure you have the piece that you're going to put on, and then you can mark it and get it exactly where you want it. What I'm choosing to do is I'm putting it in the center of the drawer. In the center from top to bottom, and also from left to right. It's going directly in the center. But now finding the exact center. The worst thing you can do is take a drawer pull, look at it and say, well, I think that's where it goes, and you put it on and you find out that it's crooked. It may not be that crooked, but you'll find out that it's slightly crooked and it looks horrible. So I'm going to show you how to calculate exactly where the middle of the drawer is and how to drill it without damaging the cabinets, and that's it. We're going to get started. So I'm going to give you an example of what kind of tools and what kind of equipment you're going to need to do it. What I will tell you is, I'll bring it down here, I'm going to show you. Okay. What I will tell you is this is how I'm doing the job. We're going to need some tape, some kind of tape that's not going to really stick too tightly to the drawers. I'm using one like this. You could use something like this, but it's a little more difficult to see because it has the markings on it. So I'm going to choose to use this one here because I'm going to put this on the center of this drawer up here. I'm going to find the approximate center. I'm going to put the tape on here, and then I'm going to make my calculations on that piece of paper because, as you can tell, you really don't want to scuff up the cabinets or do any damage to it without knowing exactly where it's going to go. All right, so obviously this is our drawer pull. This is the screws that comes with the drawer pull. We're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, a pencil, a pen, or whatever you're going to mark the tape with, something to make your measurements, and a couple of little drill bits. And this is a countersink. I'll explain why I'm going to use that too, and a drill to actually drill the holes into the cabinets. You can buy something like this here. A lot of different companies sell these. These are actually meant to go like this on the drawer, and then you can mark where you want to make your holes, and you drill it. I'm not going to use this because none of these holes line up to the dead center of the drawer, and I just want to have it exactly in the center. I don't want it off not even an eighth of an inch, because to me it's got to be exactly centered. So this I'm not going to use because it's not going to work for us. So we are going to take this and put it on the side, but they do sell stuff like this, and these may be good for when you're doing the cabinets, these cabinets here. If you're doing something different on these cabinets, it may work there. I'll have to see how it goes because I'm going to make these measurements here. But just looking at it right now, it's probably not going to work for me either, but we'll see how it goes. We'll come back to that on another video. Now, the reason I have 3 different size drill bits is, one, if you try to take the size that you actually need, which is this, and you put it up onto the cabinet here, and you try to drill, you may get it to move just a little bit. Even if it moves an eighth of an inch, it's too much to move an eighth of an inch. So what I do is I take a very small drill bit, such as this, and I make a very small pilot hole exactly where I'm going to drill it. And I drill it all the way through with this smaller drill bit here first. Once it's drilled through with that smaller drill bit, then I'll follow it up with one that's a little bigger, and then this, which is the actual size of the bolts that actually hold the drawer pull on. All right, this, I'm actually just using this just to clean off any of the, when the drill goes through this drawer, on the inside it leaves a little bit of pieces of wood sticking out. And this I just use, this is a countersink. I use this just by hand to take off any of the burrs of wood that may be sticking out. And that's it. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a piece of tape right on here. So let me get the tape on there, and then we're going to make our measurements, and we're going to drill it, and you'll see it'll come out perfect. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure the exact size of the drawer here and here, and we know it's the middle is approximately right inside here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of tape such as this, and we're going to take this and we're going to put it, we're going to do two of them just so we have plenty of room and we don't make any mistakes here. We're going to put two pieces of tape on there just like this. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make our measurement from left to right or right to left, and we're going to get to the actual dead center of the drawers itself. So let me calculate that. If you can't do it in your head, obviously you can take a calculator, and you can use a calculator or your phone or whatever you have. But let's just figure it out, and we'll go from there. Okay, so ours is 17 1/2. So to get to the center, we know it's going to be 8 3/4 will give us the center. So let's mark the center. Okay, now what I always do, just to make sure you're absolutely straight and perfect, measure it again from the other side just to make sure. 8 3/4 and 8 3/4. So we know that that is the exact center of the drawer. Now we need to go from top to bottom to calculate what that is. So we're going to do that. And we have 5 3/4. All right, so now we're gonna make our measurement over here to get to 5 3/4. And we're gonna do one more thing here. Again, that's our center point on the cabinet. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make our measurement here and here, and we're going to figure out what it is. I will tell you this piece does come in handy because we need to know where the bolts line up, so we do have an idea of where they're going to be. All right, but this is not going to work for us, but it will work as far as putting it like this. This is the center point right here. Edit that. Okay, and now we know it's 5 3/4, so we're going to do our calculations. And then we're going to make sure. We'll measure it here again. Okay. All right, so now we have our center point from top and bottom right here. And it was actually 2.88, which is a little over 2 3/4, so that's we marked that off right there. I am going to put a center line through right here, so we actually have the dead center of the drawer itself. So we're going to make a mark on there as well. Now you can use anything to make a mark on there to draw a straight line. Now I'm not telling you one ruler or another. This just happens to be one that I have right here. Right? Okay, so that's all line right there. Now we're going to make absolutely sure, again, remember you want to always measure and remeasure just to make sure, because once you drill a hole, you can't fill it in. Okay, now you see I'm using this ruler here, and not that I'm pushing one ruler over another. This just happens to be one that I have here myself that I'm using. All right, now we know where our center line is here, and our center line is right here as well. Now we need to put our little marks on there of where we're going to drill. So this is our center point right here. Now if you don't have this, it's okay. I am going to mark here, just like this, because that's where the hole is. And this one here, that's where the other hole is. Okay? This one and this one, so they line up perfectly. But you can see it's not on the line that I previously put on here. You see how that is a little bit above it? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a line straight down this way, and it'll give us the dead center. Okay. And that. So now we know these are the marks here. This is the center line here. This is the center line here. So that is exactly dead center of the drawer, and we need to drill over here. Now if you don't have something like this where you can calculate where the holes, how far the holes are apart, like this, you could very easily just take your ruler, and measure from there to there. So we know it's actually 3 3/4. What you could do is 3 3/4. We know 3 3/4 is right there. So that's how we got these marks right here. We lined it up right here in the center, and it's 3 3/4 from end to end. Okay? Okay, now remember what I said about drilling these holes in here? You want to make absolutely sure that that is our point right there, and right there where we're going to drill. So we're going to measure it over here, exactly, make sure where it is, 6 7/8. 6 7/8. So we have, these are exactly where they belong. All right, so the next thing we're going to do now is we are going to take our very small drill bit. We're going to put our drill bit on here, and you want to be very careful. Make sure you have it on there and just drill very easily. And the drill works better when you push the drill and let it drill, and then you pull it out and let the filings come off. Same thing right here. And you can get it exactly where you want it, because you just put the drill bit on there and you just push it just a little bit to make a small indent before you start to drill. Okay, and now you see here, we're going to look and make sure they're exactly where we want them, which they are. And now we're going to switch it over to a bit that's slightly larger. And we're going to drill through again, all the way through this time. Now when you're drilling, make sure that you don't push through and the chuck part of the drill damage the drawer front. Okay. And now we drill through. We're going to use the bigger bit now that we have them drilled. And we're going to go all the way through with that now. Okay, so now our holes are drilled exactly where we wanted them. What I do with this, I just come into the back of the drawer here. I'll bring you in there, I'll show you why. You see in the back of the drawer right here, see these little pieces of wood sticking out? What I do is I just take this in here and I just turn it just like that to clean off all of the burrs. You could put it in a drill if you want to. You really don't need to because it's just very little. Okay, so now we have these cleaned up back here. We're going to go up in the front and we'll put our drawer pull on. Now in this case we are going to need the longer screws because the shorter ones just don't reach. Okay. Now I'm going to take our tape off here as well because we're done with that. Now let me show you what, when you take the tape off, you'll have a perfectly drilled hole, no scratches around the outside of it or anything. Okay. Okay. Now we'll take our screws. You see how perfectly drilled they are. We'll put our screw through here and our screw through here. We're going to take our handle. We're going to turn the screw from the back, and you want to catch both of these screws loosely before you tighten anything. So we catch both left and right screw, and once they're both caught, a couple of threads, and we can turn them and tighten them up equally. And that's it. Our drawer pulls are on. Alright, so we have this one done. We're going to put the rest of them on over here. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how to install the other pulls here. Whether you use this kind or you use a different type. I'm going to use a round single pull on there. But for now, that's that. Let me get the rest of these done and then we'll come back and put those on. Alright, but okay, so now as you can see, our drawer pulls are on. We're going to continue working over there, and then we're going to do the exact same thing with these down over here. I'm not going to bore you with that because it's pretty much a duplication of exactly everything I did right here as well. Again, when you're putting these on, if you're putting the single, I'm going to put a single knob on here. We're just going to, again, find the center here, and then we're going to make our drill through here so that we actually have it. I will tell you this, make sure you have the door open when you do that, because when you're drilling through here, you don't want to hit the face of the cabinet right here. So make sure you have your door open when you're drilling through so you don't accidentally hit into the face of the cabinet. That's it, we're done. All right, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.